All right, what is up, Slippery Rock? It is the Random Album Review Show. I am Schauer, and with me, as always, is DJ Burkhouse. Say what is up, DJ Burkhouse, so I know your mic works.
What is up?
Okay, your mic works. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, today we are going to be talking about ASTROWORLD. Very, very excited. Double check, are we recording?
Yep.
Solid. So, yeah, this is our first rap album of the year, which is very exciting. It's probably the newest album we've done so far. Definitely the newest album we've done so far. And yeah, so it's just cool to do for a lot of reasons. I'm very, very excited. We're going to sort of be talking about some initial stuff, and then we're actually going to have a guest call in, very good friend of mine who wanted to sort of get on the phone and talk about the album with us. So I'm going to tell him to call. And yeah, very, very excited. As I said, we can sort of get into this a little more in depth later, but one of the things I love about this album is for it being a number one album, for it like, initially getting number one status. It's one of the most consistently good albums I've heard be number one. Like, it's so consistent, which is really impressive whenever mainstream rap artists are able to accomplish that. It's really, really, really impressive. Also, just the fact that this was such an I don't want to say overhyped, but it was such a hyped up album. Like, he has been sort of hyping this up since like 2005, like when he released Rodeo. And at some point we'll get into some of the parallels between his first album Rodeo and this album, his third. At some point. But yeah, so I don't remember, have you listened to the album yet in its entirety?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so this is going to be your first time getting it all.
I've only listened to like three of the songs off of it.
All right.
Individually.
So that's a solid amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be fun because then we can get your take, the new listener to some of these tracks. And they're not all like Picassos or anything like that. Like, they're not all like amazing, like they're not the greatest tracks ever made. It's just a consistent album of good bangers. There's some more like slower tracks, some more like sensual tracks, but just all around a good listen. And again, I'm excited to talk about it. This was one of the ones that was suggested to us by several people through Instagram, online polls, etc. So yeah. All right. So yeah, I am, as I said, very, very excited to get started. I realize I gave my good friend the wrong phone number to call.
Aw.
So he is freaking out. Which is obviously hilarious.
Obviously hilarious.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, we'll be getting him in here soon. And folks, if at any point you want to talk to us about this album tonight or any album we do in the future, feel free to call us. 724-738-2947. And with that, we have my good friend Pranay on the phone. So we're going to put him on here. All right. Can you hear me, Pranay?
Yeah, hey Adam, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. So for everybody listening, this is my good friend Pranay. He is a student at Penn State University, and when he heard that we were going to be covering ASTROWORLD by Travis Scott, he wanted to jump on and talk about it with us. So yeah, thank you for being with us tonight, Pranay.
No problem. Thanks for having me again, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we were kind of talking about it. We were just giving some initial thoughts just a second ago. For this album to be as hyped as it was, as huge as it was, it's one of the more consistently good rap albums to come out from somebody as huge as Travis Scott. Like, this was a number one album when it came out, and it's just really consistently good.
I agree. I think it's a very good album. Not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, Adam.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I think it's a very, very well curated album too. Like, there's some good bangers on it. Like, Houston Fornication's really good. Sicko Mode is a really, really good one. And I also felt like the album, like, it did a good job of not showing the people who featured on it as well. You know, like for Sicko Mode, you don't know that Drake's on it until you see the second part of it. So I felt like that was a really like well done part on Travis Scott's part. So I think it's a very, very well made album, all in all, put together.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's interesting the fact that when you like actually stop and look up all the features on this thing's filled with a lot of features, and you wouldn't know it because again they're not listed. But it just kind of goes back to kind of what you were saying about like just a ton of people getting in there and just making a really solid product. And yeah,
I think it's definitely at first, like, it for me personally, I didn't like really like some of the songs like when I first listened to it, but as I kept listening to it more and more, it really grew on me, and I could really see like where Travis got some of his energy into it, and I thought he did a really good job on that. I thought it was very creative of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree, especially when I don't think as much with this one, but definitely when I listened to Rodeo for the first time, it definitely took a few listens to sort of get the full grasp of what he was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and that's where you get like your most famous songs from him. Like Antidote is a banger for sure, and then he moves on to Beavis in the Trap with Goosebumps. Like he does a good job, which consistently, for better or worse, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so real quick, we are going to, for our listeners in Slippery Rock, we're going to get started listening to this album. But real quick, Pranay, before you go, why don't you just give us your overall, if you had to rate the album out of 10, and then some of your favorite songs on the album.
I would say it's a solid 8.5 out of 10. Like, it's good. It's really, really good. But I feel like Travis Scott can do even better. But that's my personal opinion, because he's already created some really, awesome bangers and awesome songs. So I feel like even though this is a really solid album, like, it's really good, I feel like he still has so much more to give.
All right, yeah, I feel that. And then, I was going to say, what would you say your favorite tracks on the album are?
I mean, Sicko Mode is one of my favorites, but I would say my favorite song on that is probably Houston Fornication. I think it's a nice little banger. It has good beats and a good transition to it, I feel.
All right, that's cool, because that's usually not one you hear of people talk about. But definitely, I agree. It's one of the better ones. Hits you right at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, Astro Thunder is nice to listen to too. I think that's an underrated song a little bit, but I like it. I think it's a very well crafted album on all, though. I think it's good. Yeah,
for sure. Well, Pranay, thank you so much for calling in and talking with us.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
Yeah, no problem. This was our first phoned-in guest, so yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, no worries. I hope I could have helped you out a little bit with the review on it.
Oh yeah, you did, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, have a good night.
You too. See ya. Thanks, man.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
All right, that was my buddy Pranay giving his thoughts on the album. He has been really, really excited about the idea of reviewing albums, so it was cool to get him on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of, I guess, continuing on what we were talking about before, like I was kind of saying, this is his third studio album that Travis Scott has released under his name. His first is the one most people talk about with Rodeo, and much of the hype leading up to this album, and immediately before its release, was about whether or not this album would be as good or better as Rodeo. His second album was more of just it was just kind of a thrown together, it was a more mainstream grab, I guess. And I think even he would admit that. Whereas this one was definitely closer to what people were expecting with that second one. And it met and exceeded a lot of people's expectations. The title, ASTROWORLD, obviously, I just have some interview quotes that I'm just going to read off here. That's sort of what I'm leading into. the title Astroworld, as most people know, is a reference to the Six Flags Park in Houston, Texas, where Travis Scott grew up.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the
cool.
whole idea behind it. Yeah, Astroworld was a Six Flags park. I think opened in like the 70s, and it got closed I think like in the early 2000s. They closed it down. It was right across from the Astrodome, and where all the stadiums are now in Houston, Texas, like the football and the baseball. It's sort of in that general area, and they closed it for a number of reasons. We're not going to get into all the discussion on that. I did watch an interview though about like the history of the park and why it was closed and all that. It was pretty interesting. So definitely check that out. It's somewhere on YouTube. But anywho, so that's sort of where the album title comes from, and he has been teasing the idea of calling an album Astroworld again back to 2015, right after he released Rodeo. So this is, I just have a quote here from an interview with GQ where he sort of talked about the title of the album, and he said, quote, "They tore down Astroworld to build more apartment space. That's what it's going to sound like taking an amusement park away from kids. We want it back. We want the building back. That's why I'm doing it. It took the fun out of the city." So a lot of the promotion for this album, a lot of the sounds within the album, again, is like sort of bringing back a fun atmosphere to it. Even when it comes to like his merch sales, his tour, and then he's also doing, I believe, a festival in Houston titled Astroworld, where there's apparently going to be like amusement park rides and stuff, which will be pretty neat. So this is very much, I think, the most modern, I think the most recent case of a concept album that we have in mainstream music, which is really neat for it, again, being a number one album, and it being so popular and just so accessible, that this is, at its core, it is a concept album, which is always really neat. But yeah, sort of another one that I have here, sort of going back to the idea that this is a sort of continuation from Rodeo. He said in that same interview, quote, "My whole idea was, if you locked into Rodeo, you definitely locked into Astroworld. I'm just finishing the saga I started on my first album. This is supposed to be my second album. I had to go quick because, like I said, I had all these ideas. I just had to get off real quick, but now I'm finally back home with Astroworld." So yeah, that's again bringing home the idea that this is like, I think it's really interesting that he said this was supposed to be his second album. Like, when an artist admits their, not even their flaws, but just like things they should have done differently, I think that's really admirable. And I would definitely agree that this is sort of a continuation on the same style, the same themes that you get with that first album. And just the overall, I hate to use the word experimental, but the experimental style that it has. You sort of lost that with Birds in the Trap, I think is what his second album was called. It's more of just like basic rap bangers. Where this one, you get rap bangers, but it's also a lot of really just adventurous stuff going on with the production. And that's the main thing. Again, just really adventurous stuff. You got, tracks with Stevie Wonder and, what's his name? I can't remember. One of the members of Earth, Wind & Fire. There's a track on there with Kevin Parker of Tame Impala, who was also a collaborator on our first review show, Anti by Rihanna. So it just sort of brings back that adventurous style that a lot of people were looking for from a Travis Scott album. So yeah, Philip Bailey. I can't believe I forgot his name. I literally have one of his records on vinyl. Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind & Fire does the singing later on. But yeah, so I'm very excited to be able to listen to this again. I was listening to it like on repeat for a while, and I kind of forced myself to stop so that I could listen to it now and sort of pick up on stuff instead of just sort of going through autopilot.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of signature Travis Scott elements. Every single song has the ad-libs. I think every single song says it's lit at some point in it. A lot of beat switches, a lot of tempo changes, a lot of characteristics that he's known for, but just kind of a perfected version of what he's done in the past. So yeah, we've been talking for quite a while, so why don't we just get right into it in just a second here. I just now realized it's 10:27. If we wait a little bit, I can do a station ID so we don't get sued by the FCC. But yeah, so I know it's hard to put you on the spot, but like, do you remember what 3 songs you've listened to? Obviously one of them was probably Sicko Mode.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I just knew they were off the album. Like, they probably just played in the car with someone else, so I'm not sure.
I was going to say, I know I've played Carousel with you a few times in the car, so you're familiar with that one. Probably Butterfly Effect.
I think so.
It shows up at the end.
Yeah, but I don't really remember. I don't know. I don't remember my thoughts about it either, so I can't really say much.
So you're going in 100% fresh. So
Yeah.
this will be good.
Yeah.
All right. I dig it. So yeah. We're going to get started here after a quick station ID. This first track really, really sets the tone for the whole album. It's called Stargazing. Again, right down the middle, we got a beat switch and a tempo change, and it just sort of escalates into this like really like urgent, fast-paced, really really cool sound. This is the track that he opens his like festival shows and his tour with, I'm sure. Now is the album opener, and it really sets a cool tone for those performances also. Yeah, which we'll talk about that more also. If you are a fan of Travis Scott's music and you haven't seen his live shows on YouTube, like, look that up now, because they are insane. Like, I would never pay to go to a like a hockey stadium, like, or a basketball stadium, like, concert, and I was real close to buying tickets for his show, because he is absolutely crazy when he's on stage, and it's just insane. But yeah, without further ado, we are going to start it off here with Stargazing off of ASTROWORLD by Travis Scott. Keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM WSRU, the voice of the rock.
Honey, you need to eat your vegetables.
No!
Okay, then you can go to bed without listening to 88.1 FM WSRU Slippery Rock, the dessert of radio stations.
Fine. And yeah, just another quality banger, like we said.
Yeah.
How you digging it so far?
I definitely like Carousel less than was the first one.
Stargazing.
Yeah.
So Stargazing.
Yeah, I really like Stargazing a lot.
Stargazing's the favorite
Carousel
right
was
now.
kind of, Carousel,
Alright.
that one was kind of like, I don't know. It's okay.
All right.
I felt very indifferent about it.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, we know this one you're going to be at least a little familiar with. The third track is Sicko Mode. Features features guest work from Drake. Features a little like sing-song vocals from Sway Lee, in addition to the next track, including Sway Lee's voice. And yeah, not too much we can say about it. One of the biggest songs out there right now. So yeah, we're just going to listen to it, and hopefully you enjoy it more in the context of the whole album. So here is Sicko Mode off of ASTROWORLD. Keep it locked. What else can we say about it? Just one of my favorite, like, number one rap songs come out in the past few years, just because there's so much going on. It's just, that's really what I love about Travis Scott, is his style is very, very accessible, obviously, because he's one of the most popular artists right now. Very accessible, but there's also, just in terms of production, in terms of just style. There's just so much happening. It really makes complex music accessible to the average listener, which is obviously something that we both enjoy, because that was a lot of what we were talking about, I think, with Rihanna's album whenever we covered that.
Yeah, there were a lot of like different elements that like are, characteristics of music that like people don't normally listen to because it's like too complicated. And like I mean, I'm not attacking anybody for the music that they listen to. I'm just saying, like, in general, people just want to listen to like simple fun stuff, catchy music, and that type of music is simple. But this is popular, and it's like complicated and interesting and multifaceted. Right. I really like the distorted bass type thing.
Oh yeah. You definitely get. I mean, he doesn't produce. He produces some of the tracks on this album, but certainly not all of them. But you definitely get his production style throughout it, because he started out his career as a producer. So you definitely get his sort of impact and what he wanted, and that's again, his just signature style that you hear from his music is just something a lot of people enjoy, whether it's like music critics with like bald heads and glasses, or like just an average 19-year-old who just wants to listen to bangers. It's just so
needs some music to play in his frat basement.
Yeah, this is all great party music, and it's like there's still so much happening. It's really neat. The only other thing I could say that's even close is like Kendrick Lamar, but that's more with his rapping ability. This is more with just the production style, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
Not that, I mean, obviously Travis Scott's rapping isn't at the same level as Kendrick Lamar's, but they're just different. Like his is more of like a singing almost, and just a lot of auto-tune, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point later. But I don't feel that auto-tune is ever a bad thing. It's always the thing people point to as a negative. But I believe it is. I personally believe it is never ever a bad thing.
Yeah, it's musical.
But I think at some point later in the show, I might stop and rant about that. But we won't worry about that right now. That was recording, right?
Yeah, we're recording.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
All right. So, up next, we have the fourth track on the album, R.I.P. Screw. And I think we're just going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this one afterwards. I'm getting some stuff pulled up.
Okay.
So yeah. Here is R.I.P. Screw, and then after that we're sort of get into the album territory that is my personal favorite. I mean, I don't know if I can say my personal favorite. I really like, one of the things I love about the album is that in addition to the initial, and the initial three bangers that just hit you right off the bat, even when you get into the middle tracks, the slower filler stuff, it's still really, really good. And that's what makes the album, I feel like, special, as opposed to just being like a few good songs and then a few just blah. which is kind of what I got from Travis Scott's second album before this. It was like three good songs and then just blah. I mean, not that they were bad, but they were just okay. And there's nothing okay on this album. It's all great. So yeah, here is the fourth track on ASTROWORLD, R.I.P. Screw. Keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM, WSRU, the voice of the rock. All right, that was R.I.P. Screw, the fourth track off of ASTROWORLD. I was sort of preparing to talk about it before the track, but I realized I didn't have anything in front of me, so I didn't want to get anything wrong. So, R.I.P. Screw is obviously a tribute to deceased Houston hip-hop legend DJ Screw. Screw was integral in the development of the chopped and screwed DJ technique, which helped pioneer the whole hip-hop scene in Houston, Texas. And he died in 2000 of a suspected lean overdose. And on the track, he's sort of paying respects to him, both literally and metaphorically, by like slowing down the track and like having a more like slower, methodical track right after like the biggest banger of the year. So yeah, you also get some vocal work from Sway Lee again. And yeah, I'm personally a very big fan of, I mean, not so much their most recent album, but I am a big fan of Ray Shremmerd, so it's nice to hear Sway Lee on, again, these like sort of slower and more methodical tracks. It's a nice addition.
I think what I was thinking mostly during it was like, I don't know, for me, there's there's a difference between like party music and hang music. Like if you're having a hang, that song was like a perfect for music. A hang.
Absolutely.
It's like chill.
For sure.
You're just hanging out.
Like with the lights in the studio right now, just hanging in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So yeah, it's a great one. The next one is very, very great. This was probably one of my favorite ones. Whenever I listened to the album for the first time, I listened to this one, I was like, oh my god, this album's great. Because it's really, really cool. You got vocals on here from everyone. Literally everyone. You got harmonica work from Stevie Wonder. You got vocals from Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind and Fire, one of my favorite vocalists of that time period. James Blake, Kid Cudi, and BJ the Chicago Kid all singing on this thing. And just a really, really cool atmospheric track. And yeah, definitely one of the stronger ones on the album for people who are listening to the whole album. So yeah, it's a good one. It's also 5 minutes and 38 seconds long, so it gives us a chance to sort of chill and not, So yeah, here is Stop Trying to Be God. It is the 5th track on ASTROWORLD. Keep it locked. All right, that was Stop Trying to Be God, 5th track. I think it's safe to say another hanging track.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, just some beautiful vocalization and instrumentation on the end there. Really, really mellow track.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoy it. And yeah, keep rolling right along, I guess. Up next, we got a track that I don't think I really gave it enough attention when the album first came out. I've been listening to it a few times recently, and I enjoy it a lot. It's got verses from, or I don't know if verses is the right term, but like it has vocal work from Sheck Wes and Juice WRLD, two of the, I don't even know if I want to say up and coming, but two of the biggest rappers right now. In terms of definitely Sheck Wes.
My friend Ethan's been telling me to listen to Juice WRLD.
Yeah, I haven't personally listened to Juice WRLD yet, but Pranay, actually, who was on the show earlier, he was telling me what tracks he enjoys off of Juice WRLD, and Future just released a project together.
I honestly didn't realize that Juice WRLD was like a rapper, because my friend Ethan, he hates like rap and hip hop type music, so like I just assumed it was like, I don't know, pop.
Yeah, just glitzy pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's just so weird because like I try to like be in the know of things happening, but like I don't listen to nothing but like top 40, so sometimes I'm out of the loop. And with both Sheck Wes and Juice WRLD, it was just like I heard these names and was like, oh, I've never heard that person before. And then the next day it's like, oh yeah, they're the most popular person right now. And it's like, holy crap, like it's overwhelming. It makes you feel old.
Oh gosh.
I mean, it's not that like I'm actually old. It's just because their music again is like kind of simple. Not that that's an insult. I'm actually a really big fan of Sheck Wes's new album that's out. Some of the tracks are not so good, but a lot of the tracks are really good. But yeah, we'll have to check out Juice WRLD. Anywho, they both got contributions on this next song called No Bystanders. It's the 6th track. So keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM, WSRU, the voice of the rock. All right, No Bystanders. The 6th track. Yeah, definitely didn't give that a fair shot the first time I listened to this album.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah, past few times I listened to it, I really enjoyed it. Especially the end there. I like the use of pianos, like the last minute 30. Very, very cool. Again, always changes. There's always changes throughout the songs, which is really neat. But yeah. Yeah, the club up, obviously that whole style is kind of a homage to older styles of hip hop. Southern hip hop, which makes sense. Being from Houston. But also incorporated with his signature style, with his newer, I guess, style. And that one, I guess, is the most, I'd say that track in terms of production is or at least the beginning elements is the closest to his more older stuff. His more signature songs, I'd say. But then again, he just switches it up towards the end and just has a completely kind of a continuation. It's not necessarily a beat switch, but it just kind of changes and you have those pianos and sort of a different style, which makes it really, really, really cool. So yeah. That is always a fun one that he does live that I've seen. Yeah. So I'm very, very excited about these next few tracks we have coming up. Especially once we get to 9 and 10. Those two are just so awesome. Some of my favorites on the album. But right now we got track number 7. 7 and 8, Skeletons and Wake Up, both include vocals, very obvious vocals from a familiar voice. The Weeknd, he fits very, very, very well into these sort of slower, more sensual tracks. But this first one, Skeletons, which I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, whenever this album came out, another rapper who released a very, very good album this year, JPEG Mafia, he's a lot more experimental rap. Very, very different from this album. I think the day this album came out, he said that this was the best track on the album, hands down. And something about 3 months from now, y'all will be adding me. And sure enough, that happened. So yeah, he's sort of. I don't think he has a label. He sort of is a producer, a hip hop artist, and he certainly felt this was the best track. It includes, again, vocals from The Weeknd, contributions from Tame Impala, and also Pharrell. Pharrell was also involved with this track.
Interesting.
So just a lot of good musicians coming together and just making some cool stuff. So yeah, here's Skeletons. Again, this is a lot slower than the last one, sort of changing up the style. 7th track on the album. So definitely keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM, WSRU, the voice of the rock. All right, that's a short little one, Skeletons. 7th track off of ASTROWORLD. And I cannot stress enough, I think I've said this all 4 shows, I love doing this show because I'm so more focused whenever we're listening to the tracks. That is the first time I've been able to hear Pharrell. I actually hear Pharrell. Not towards the very end, but kind of at the 2-minute mark. I heard him finally. I was like, oh, there he is. Fine. Yeah. Obviously at the very end you hear the Tame Impala.
Yeah. It sounds very Tame Impala-esque.
Oh yeah, super Tame Impala-esque.
Super, it sounds like it's on a Tame Impala album.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Album. Yeah, but it does still sound like a Travis Scott song. And that's what's so cool. Literally, yeah, just absolutely. Kevin Parker is working his butt off with all of these hip hop acts, and I am 100% down for it because oh my god, the results are just always just beautiful. because his style is so like you wouldn't think it works, but it's so applicable to a lot of these, again, like a lot of these atmospheric kind of pop rap type things. And it's every single time it's just like out of the park, like just so cool.
Yeah,
like literally, yeah. He's just able to, he's somebody who brings out the best in all the people he works with.
Dang.
So yeah. Not that Travis Scott needed it. I mean, this album's already pretty good without him, but it's just an added bonus. Yeah. Another good hanging out track.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
I've thought a lot about
type
that
of vibe.
Yeah.
Than, what was the other one that I said was a hang?
Yeah, a different type of vibe from R.I.P. Screw, I think was the one.
Okay, yeah. But like still that same type of like just chilling out.
Yeah. You know, and I've thought a lot since you said that, and I think that's kind of, I've had a hard time putting into words that kind of sound, that like slower sound, but that's honestly a good way to describe it. And honestly,
it's still like a kind of a banger, but it's
right.
Like chill.
And if you think about literally all Travis Scott music from his entire discography, it can be either categorized as hanging out or just hard bangers, and both are so good. Like one isn't worse than the other, which is like, I think what makes him so unique is that like whenever you have to listen to, I mean, my personal opinion, whenever you have to listen to some of Drake's slower stuff, it's just like, okay, this is okay. This is okay at best.
Yeah, I don't.
I've never gotten that,
but like, it's not bad.
exactly. And I've never ever gotten that feel from Travis Scott. Like there's some slower tracks from Drake that I really, really enjoy and really love, but a lot of them on all of his discography, it's just like, this is okay. You have a good singing voice. You have that sort of appeal. I get why you're doing this, but it's a 3 out of 5 at best. And me personally, I'm primarily listening for the more hard stuff. Whereas with Travis Scott, I can listen to both. And like, it's just, again, just like perfect. Which makes him really unique in terms of my personal opinion of him. So yeah. And with that, we're going to listen to another really, really cool slower track. This one has The Weeknd all over it. Really, really cool just because the instrumentation's really different. You got like a the use of guitars, I think, for the first time probably in this entire album. And it's very rampant in the instrumental of this. It comes up later for sure. But yeah, just a really outside of the box instrumental on this one, and sort of along the same style of Skeletons, but a little less like spacey and more just kind of down to earth beat. So yeah, here is Wake Up, the 8th track on ASTROWORLD. Hope you're enjoying. Keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM WSRU, the voice of the rock. Alright, that one was Wake Up, the 8th track off of ASTROWORLD. Again, you got The Weeknd in there. Just a nice little slow, soft one. Yeah.
Super, I don't know, just calm.
Yeah, very calm. Yeah, not much more to say than that. Honestly, like, I know we kind of talked about a lot of these tracks in the beginning, but we're kind of reaching, I mean, at least after these next, like, 2, we're reaching territory where it's like, they're filler tracks. They're not bad. Like, they're not bad.
They just don't stand out, you mean?
Yeah, they don't stand out. Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, this is still a consistently good album, but these are kind of, if any, the low points.
Yeah, okay.
Some of the ones, like 13 and 14 maybe, but like, some of them are pretty good still. This next one, though, track number 10, I love this track. Oh my goodness. It is so just, I just love the beat. It's so cool. So yeah, very just creepy beat and very simple. very just piano-y and just so cool. I don't even know if it necessarily fits the tone of the album, but it's just so neat, and I just really appreciate the way everything blends together. But yeah, with that, here is 5% Tint, the 9th track on ASTROWORLD. Keep it locked. All right, 5% Tint. So cool. I just love that one. It's so neat. Love the vocals at the end, the sort of synth that comes in towards the second half. And then again, the simplicity of it towards the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have much to say about that.
Yeah.
I liked it, but like...
Yeah. No, there isn't a whole lot to say. I just really... Again, it's just really simplistic, and I just dig how everything comes together sort of perfectly.
Yeah.
So, definitely one of my favorite.
Works.
Yeah. Definitely just works. That's a good way to put it. So, yeah. That is one of my favorite songs on the album, and this next one is too. I didn't even realize it was, but I just realized like earlier this week, I play this song all of the time. It is so catchy and so like just addictive to listen to this song. It's just a really, really fun one. The chorus is, I don't want to say silly, but it's just kind of funny, the chorus. And then you got one of my favorite 21 Savage verses on this thing. I don't know. I just really, really enjoy all of it. Again, silly's not a right word, but it's just fun. It's a fun track. One of the more fun tracks on the album. So yeah, here is NC-17, the 10th track on ASTROWORLD. Hope you enjoy. Love that one. NC-17 featuring 21 Savage. Just a fun one. That's just a fun one to listen to any time of the day. Yeah.
Like the lyrics made it fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, it's just like a goofy almost chorus. Mm-hmm. But incredibly catchy. Like insanely catchy. Mm-hmm. Literally this will be going in my head like throughout the day. Mm-hmm. More so than any song on this album, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, not too much more you can say. So up next we got Astro Thunder, the 11th track on the album. Hope you enjoy. Keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM, WSRU, the voice of the rock. That one literally sounds like he sampled like the entrance music to Space Mountain. So
Space
neat.
Mountain.
Yeah.
Wait.
In Disney World.
The ride?
Yeah.
Oh, I never rode it. Was it a roller coaster?
Yeah, but like it's one of the most popular. It's like the most like iconic roller coaster ever. But as you're walking through the entrance, there's literally just like little woo, woo, like those little those little whirls that you literally heard in that song. Essentially,
that's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, and a nice fade out at the end. All of these songs, like even these like softer ones, have really, really nice endings. They just kind of, God,
yeah.
The dude's just, the dude's an incredible curator. He's an incredible musician. Just really, really solid at what he does. More so than any other artist, I think, in a similar position right now. But yeah. Mm-hmm. This next one's another sort of lighter one. It features vocals from Gunna and Nav. Nav, I feel like, is the one you can kind of hear from the beginning, at least. So yeah, this next one is Yo's Might. It is the 12th track. 12 of 17. We're almost there. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM. WSRU, the voice of the rock. Alright, that was Yo's Might. Nothing too spectacular about that one. Just another very chill, soft one.
Mm-hmm. Very, oh my gosh, what's the word? I don't know. Oh, I can't think of the word I want to use. Stop. It's like, I don't know. I guess I could say vibey.
Vibey. Yeah, no, vibey is very
but that's
accurate.
not what I was gonna say.
Right.
But
vibey is not an actual word, but it's very accurate. That's a lot of this album, though. Mm-hmm. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Yeah. So, yeah. We're most of the way through the album. What do you think so far?
I really like it. I can't believe I haven't, like, listened to it before. Like, as we're going through, I'm, like, adding songs to my Spotify.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so...
Well, that's good. I'm glad you enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Glad we didn't just do this and you ended up like, I hate it. It's stupid.
Nah.
Nah.
I don't hate most music.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I feel like that's accurate for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this next one is called Can't Say. I honestly, this is another filler track that I don't remember, so I don't even know what I'm going to say about it. So, we'll listen. Here is Can't Say, the 13th track off of ASTROWORLD. Hope you enjoy. Alright, I'm so mad. The second that started playing, I remembered what song it was, and I feel like I didn't give it a proper introduction. So yeah, that's a really good one. I really enjoy that one. Features Don Tolliver, who I have never heard of before in my life, but I love his contribution on there. Like, literally, I think it fits the tone so well. His sort of verse and his sort of singing / rapping on it. Apparently, he's kind of a newer one, too. He released a mixtape in August 2018. But yeah. Another really solid song off the album. Also, I missed this earlier, but I feel like I at least need to acknowledge it. The song No Bystanders on this album, it contains a sample from a song from Bjork.
Huh.
Yeah. They were not messing around.
That's funny.
Literally, I am always so impressed to see sample credits on rap albums, because even the most, like, just popular, like, generic rap albums, they'll have samples from, like, some random song that was in a commercial in, like, 1950.
Yeah.
Or just the most absolutely outlandish stuff.
Yeah, like,
and it's so cool.
What is it? Fourth Dimension off of Kids See Ghosts?
Yeah!
Samples that what name is that song? That Christmas song?
That is the single coolest sample I have ever heard in my life.
Oh, it is
literally,
so
that
sick.
is sample of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah. Literally, there's a YouTuber I follow. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say his name, if I'll get, like, pulled from that or something like that. But he literally has a whole series where he'll, like, put together, like, a hip-hop song, and then he'll show the original sample, and then he'll show, like, the use of it in a hip-hop song. And he has, like, probably 50 videos where he just puts that all together.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Oh, they're so cool to watch. It's so neat. Literally, 40, Drake's producer, is, like, one of the most underrated unsung heroes of our generation. Like, he literally is so amazing. Like, every single, like, noteworthy Drake song literally exists because of 40 and just doing crazy stuff. Like, Started From the Bottom is a song that I used to hate, but after seeing how he made the song with the sample, it's insane. But we're getting really off topic, insanely off topic with that. Up next, we got a track called Who What. All the tracks are in all caps, but that one in particular has an exclamation point, so it looks like very, matter of fact. It contains vocals from Quavo and Takeoff, 2 members of Migos. So, it's going to be an all right rap hippity hoppity song. So yeah, here's Who What, 14th track. Hope you enjoy. Quite yet. We gotta say some words first, because we all know what that one was. Who What, again, just consistent good rap banger. I mean, anytime Migos hops on, Travis Scott and Migos. I mean, it's Travos,
their couple name,
if you prefer. No, actually, what you would call that is Huncho Jack. with it being Quavo and Travis Scott, because they released a mixtape earlier this year called, or last year I believe, last year, called Huncho Jack. So yeah, featuring Takeoff, who is Migos. Yeah. So yeah, just really consistent one. I really, really, really love every 16 bars there's like a scream in the background. I love that. Not only does it add to the menacing nature of the track,
menacing, that's a good way to put
it. It is menacing, but it's just like a basic like scream noise that you would hear on like some soundboard, but it also can illustrate the fact that, again, this is Astroworld, so it can be like a roller coaster scream.
Ooh.
Yeah. I love it. There's so much intentional little things put in there that add to the album that I feel like most people in their head are grasping, but they're just not they're not aware of it, but they're still kind of taking it in, which is just it's so cool. So impressive. In conclusion, music's awesome. So yeah. Up next, I'm sure you heard the first little bit. This is a very, very old song considering it was on this album. It came out last year. A lot of people were very surprised it ended up being on the album. This was a track that he initially released with 2 other tracks, I think on like SoundCloud or something. But he ended up making it a single. It blew up, became really big. It's been around for a while. It is Butterfly Effect. So we're going to play that. Hope you enjoy it. If you want to talk about the album with us, call 724-738-2947. We got 3 more tracks to do that, and we'll put you on air. Keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM, WSRU, the voice of the rock. All right. Yeah, Butterfly Effect. Again, many people, such as myself and Pranay specifically, were surprised to see that one make the album, just because it's so old and it's been around for so long. And honestly, I don't even know how well it fits in the context of the album. Like, I think that might honestly be my one gripe with the whole album as a whole, is that this song's on there.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty, complete without it.
Yeah, exactly. Not even so much that you could just not have it on there, but the fact that they released a single earlier this year that was an album single, literally referenced Astroworld in the first 5 seconds, and is literally one of the best rap bangers, not only of this year, but it's come out in a long time. Watch, which featured Lil Uzi Vert and Kanye West. One of my favorite rap songs to come out this year, and literally perfectly fits into this album concept, everything. Like, could absolutely be there, and it's not. And Butterfly Effect is here anyways. This is literally something me and Pranay got really fired up about when this album came out. It's literally the only gripe we have. It's like, why? Because literally, watch the first 5 seconds, there's a clip of a girl in a TV interview that's talking about Astroworld closing, and then the song hits. So it was literally meant to be an album single by Travis Scott. The cover art is of roller coasters and stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. And then they put this song that's over a year old.
Yeah, that's really weird.
It's very, very strange. I don't get it. Again, my only gripe with this entire album, it's a really, really solid album, which we're going to be talking about here after these next 2 songs. But yeah, very strange. Another fun fact, Butterfly Effect is the only song in the album that is clean. So yeah, up next we have Houston Fornication, which Pranay said was his favorite track of the album. So, yeah, it's a good one. So here it is. It is the 16th track out of 17. Keep it locked for the last track and then our final thoughts. Houston Fornication, definitely one of definitely a fun one. It's a fun one.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I honestly usually forget about that one. I think it's just because it's at the end of the album, and it's after Butterfly Effect. So whenever I see Butterfly Effect, I'm like, why is it on there? But yeah,
it's another like hang song.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's kind of like a both. It's kind of a banger and kind of a hang.
I was like, it's kind of on the edge, but like, I don't know. Yeah.
It honestly could be either. But yeah, just a continuation of the just consistently good, really, really awesome tracks that we've been hearing. And yeah, we got one more, and it's definitely one of the... If you were to pick any song on the album to like be unlike the rest of it, it's definitely this last one. Very unorthodox. Not saying that it doesn't fit. I actually kind of like that. I kind of like how it's sort of ending things for the whole album as a whole. But yeah, this is track 17 of 17, Coffee Bean, the very last track on the album. And yeah, then we're going to be talking about our final thoughts on the album as a whole. So keep it locked right here on 88.1 FM, WSRU, the voice of the rock. All right, that was the final track. So that was Astroworld. So yeah, very cool track to end things on.
It feels like a cliffhanger almost. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, which
like, I don't think it is.
I kind of like. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
that's like how a story ends. And that's what this album was.
It's almost like the end question mark. Like, yeah, for sure. I was just reading this here. I was just looking at some reviews of the album. Jordan Bassett of New Musical Express and NME, which they gave the album 5 stars, which is their I guess perfect rating. They praised some of the other songs, but in particular, he praised Coffee Bean for being a moment that encapsulates the scope and ambition of Astroworld as a whole, which I think is pretty accurate. It definitely shows the ambition, So many of these tracks are just so outside of the box.
Yeah.
And yeah, that definitely, that song definitely shows that too. He also, talking about the whole album, concluded that this is the sound of a musician who has worked to forge an entire world, an empire around himself. We can peer in, but from afar, guessing at his motives and life behind the velvet rope. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty accurate description of the album. So yeah. So again, we've been hearing sort of your opinions on the different tracks as you go through, but this was your first time hearing the album as a whole. So yeah, what did you think?
I liked it a lot. I liked it more than I thought I was going to, because I was like, well, I haven't listened to it yet, which shows that it, probably I won't like it that much. I don't know, if I liked it that much. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. But
no, it does make sense. I get
you. If an album comes out and it's something I would like I'm listening to it already.
Right. But, so if you haven't listened to it yet, it's well, I should be already, so.
Yeah, so do I need to?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely wish I would have listened to it sooner.
Yeah. And if you're anything like me, you're going to be listening to this thing nonstop for the next few months. Literally, this isn't. It's in my. I'm a music nerd, obviously, so I made top albums of the year so far. This isn't my number one. It's I think in my top 10. I think it's either top 10 or top 15. But anywho, I can say with 100% certainty, out of all of the albums that have come out this year on my Spotify, I have listened to this one the most, without a doubt. It just immediately comes up on that homepage. It's just hey, did you want to listen to Astroworld again? And I'm just oh, yeah, sure, whatever. So yeah, I constantly come back to this album. It's just so again, I can't stress the fact it is so cool to see so many layers and so much happening with a number one album. And yeah, I just I really think with a lot of the expectations that were set on this album, all the hype, it could have been bad. Like, it could have been overhyped. It could have left people disappointed. And the fact that it not only left people, like, just satisfied, but many people, I mean, not everyone, obviously, but many people agreed this was not only as good as Rodeo and a proper, like, sort of follow-up to Rodeo, but it was better. It's definitely, I'm trying to think of the word. It's definitely a progression from the sounds that you hear in Rodeo. And I think an improvement. Again, not everybody feels that way, but I personally believe it's just a person taking the same sort of style and just improving upon it.
Interesting.
And just the fact, again, this thing has so many features, and the fact that with all of these really, like, good albums that we're covering, whenever they have a lot of features, one characteristic that you're going to see is that the album artist brings out the best in the features and actually makes them better. I think that's 100% the case with this one. I mean, again, I said earlier, in my eyes, NC-17, that 21 Savage verse is my favorite thing that he's ever done in his career. Personally, I absolutely love that. You know, I think it's crazy that Drake released an album this year, and probably his most popular verse is on Sicko Mode. I mean, just because you can kind of, like, make fun of the lyrics, but also just because it's catchy, which is crazy, again, because he released an album this year. So, and a lot of these just younger rappers too. He's just bringing a lot of new, fresh names and people to the table, and they just knock it out of the park with very little experience.
Yeah.
I think Sheck West is only like 18 or 19 or something like that. And so the fact that these young people are able to make heavy contributions on, like, just a stylistically good album is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Very, very happy that we were able to cover it. Big shout out. Some other people suggested it, but the one I immediately think of is Danielle Keppel. Shout out to her. She suggested this one on Instagram.
Love you, Danielle.
Love you, Danielle. And whenever I saw her suggest that, again, we had received some before, so I was like, we got to do this at some point.
Yeah.
Very happy that we did too. Really, really cool album. Very happy that it's our first hip-hop album to do on the show. Not the last. In about a month or so, we're going to be doing Because the Internet by Childish Gambino. I think that's our next hip-hop album. Ooh. So that one will be a lot of fun as well. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Definitely think it's a solid album. One of my top 10 albums of the year. Thank y'all for listening. As I said at the very, very beginning, I think before we started recording, next week, November 1st at 10 p.m. on 88.1 FM, we're going to be talking about Discovery by Daft Punk. Oh my God. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. I might have to sleep all day, so I'm wide awake for this thing. I'm so excited. My favorite album of all time. We're going to be talking about it. The week after that, November 8th, we're going to be doing an album by Arctic Monkeys, which you can vote to decide which one we do. Follow me on Twitter. I will give my handle in a second once we stop recording, because I don't want YouTube people getting on my Twitter.
Okay. Okay.
We good? Okay. Yeah, follow me there, and you can vote on our tweet. We are doing a Twitter poll between the which Arctic Monkeys album we're going to do. Between Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, Favorite Worst Nightmare, Humbug, and Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Get on there and vote. You have a week. And then we'll announce it during the Discovery show. So yeah, that's what's immediately coming up. Follow me on that Twitter, and you can see our show schedule. If you see any albums you like, message me, and we'll put you on the air. If you want to call in, if you want to come into the studio, we'll get you on. We love having people on. We love talking with other people about music.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it's all about. Any final words to the people, DJ Burkhouse?
I don't think so.
No.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Everybody have a fun, safe weekend. This is kind of the Halloween weekend.
Yeah, I feel like Halloween weekend is going to have a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah, it's on a Wednesday. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's right in the middle. So we might as well celebrate 2 weekends in a row, guys.
Yeah, I honestly might as well.
But I love Halloween.
Have a great part 1 of Halloween weekend. Yeah. This was a great album to do for that also. I might add. Very spooky album. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to sign off. 20 minutes late. It was a long album.
Yeah.
You have been listening to 88.1 FM WSRU Slippery Rock. We are owned by the Student Government Association of Slippery Rock University. WSRU is completely run by students of SRU, operating at a rocking 100 watts of power at 88.1 on the FM dial. This is Xiao and
DJ Burkhouse.
Hoping you'll tune in to the best music college has to offer right here on 88.1 FM WSRU, the voice of the rock.